Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come and help each other learn the art of receiving light. It's become even clearer to me recently that when we do this together, when we do anything together, right, whether it's harmful or kind, we are exponentially stronger than when we do it individually. So I very, very much appreciate being able to do it with you because it helps me. The point is for us to learn the art of calling light, living through light, living with light. The key, of course, for those of you who have been with us before, the key to everything we do is to be centered in the heart and making that our base of operation, so to speak. We have other choices, right? Depending on how many chakras you think there are, we have other choices as to how to orient ourselves. We are living in a world, also, some of you have heard me say this before, we are living in a world that has been dedicated, run by the third chakra. Most people on this call live in the United States. United States is the quintessential expression of the third chakra, although I think we've been surpassed by China. And we are being called, in many cases, forcefully, in many cases, kicking and screaming, to change our loyalty from the third chakra to the heart. And so what we are doing here in these little invocations is being part of that great movement. We are learning the practical art of being centered in the heart, and then the bonus of calling and being able to interact with and become the instruments for the transmission of light. All the healing work that I've learned in my 45 years of doing this comes down to that. I've studied lots of techniques. I've done lots of techniques, practiced many different forms. And I know that there are people on this call also. You practice various forms of healing. For me, it's all come down to that. It's all come down to the more I am centered in my heart, the more truthfully, the more deeply, the more authentically, the more actually, non-metaphorically, that I am centered in my heart, living from my heart, working from my heart, the more I'm available to light. As far as I can tell, spirituality simply comes down to availability. And therefore, my relationship with light evolves, matures, deepens to my benefit for sure, and therefore then to the benefit of those who I come in contact with in whatever venue I'm called to be in. So this once a month thing that I was guided to do, ordered to do, is a part of that training. As some of you know, we are going to start in January a one-year healers training where we are going to learn step by step doing this in a group setting. We're actually, as of today, we are almost full. We have a few slots open. but this is a part of that, right? So I bring to you what I know, and I ask you then to join me in creating a circle of the heart, and then calling light for the benefit of all of us. I want to tell you a story, a couple stories. Jane and I just got back from Turkey a week ago. We spent 16 days in Turkey. And there were a lot of things that we learned. It was a pretty incredible trip. We learned things, saw things, did things. It was very guided. It was very harmonious for us. But there are a couple of things I want to share with you. The first thing is, many people in Turkey, you talk with them and they go like this. They put their hand on their heart and they look at you and they say, if you're happy, I'm happy. And they mean it. If you're happy, I'm happy. And I would say to them, you know, I'm an American. In America, if you say to me, I'm happy, I say I'm jealous. Right? It's a completely different culture. And they mean it sincerely. Right? It's a different way of looking at things. So what does that do? What that expresses the cultural, to me, expresses the cultural reality that they understand, that we really are connected through the heart. And what's good for you is good for me. What's good for me is good for you. And that by you healing yourself and you opening your heart, you help me. You see what I mean? It's not, I didn't feel it as altruism. I felt it as an acknowledgement of the reality of unity. And I mean, it's a country and it's a culture, and there are things that from our point of view were difficult and we didn't like them. But that was one of the things I liked a huge amount. Even you're negotiating with someone about a price of something. And truly at the end, they'll say, well, if you're happy, I'm happy. You know, well, it's very beautiful. But I want to tell you another story. The main motivation for us going to Turkey was that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I got introduced to the house of the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary, right? That woman, Miriam, the mother of that guy and many other people, in her last years lived in Ephesus, which is on the coast of Turkey. It's actually, now it's called Selçuk. And it's an amazing story. In 1820, there was a woman named Anne Catherine Emmerich, who was a nun, who was paralyzed. She was a paraplegic. And she lay in her bed and had full on, for those who are Daimi people, miração, visions of that time, 2,000 years, or it's actually 1,800 years before, of the lives of those people, including, she dictated a volume called The Life of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And her visions were like this. Like if she was seeing me now, she would say, I saw a man, he was wearing a white shirt and there were blue trim on the shirt. Behind him was a purple chair and there was a statue behind him, and like that. Her visions were extraordinarily detailed, to the point when you read them, it gets a little boring, because you're like, you know, there were 3 tables, and on the table, each one, there were 2 glasses, like that. So she had a vision. In one of her visions, she described the house of the Virgin Mary in Ephesus and described it like that. Here's what it looked like. Here's how many rooms it had. Here's what it was made of. Here's what was surrounding it, like that. And she was a mystic. And some people, even in the Catholic Church, just thought mysticism was bullshit, and other people thought it was interesting. So in the 1890s, another nun who was assigned in her nunnery to that region of Turkey, right? And that region of Turkey, it was under the Greeks, and it was under the Romans, and it was under the Christians, and it was under the, right? Alexander the Great took it over like that. but there were Christian missions there. She, in her nunnery, they allowed people to, the nuns could read at meals, and she didn't have any books. So she was friends with a priest, and she said to him, hey, can you give me some books? So in his collection of books in his library was this volume, The Life of the Virgin Mary, through Anne Catherine Emmerich. He thought it was bullshit. He thought mysticism was stupid. Well, he was a priest, right? He was a practical priest. So he starts picking out books for her. One of them is that, and he's like, no, I don't like this book. He puts it back on the shelf. The next day he comes into his office, and the book is on his desk again. He puts it back on the shelf. The next day he comes in, it's on the desk again. He takes it and he throws it across the room. He's like, I hate this. The next day it's on his desk again. So he's like, okay. Gives it to the woman. She reads it and she's like, I got to find that house. So she convinced him, the guy who didn't believe it, and another priest who didn't believe it, to go look for it. And she came from a very, very wealthy French family. She was like, I'm going to finance the whole thing. So they went. They had to crawl through brambles. Somebody on their trip died from heat exhaustion. And they found the house exactly as described by Anne Catherine Emmerich. Exactly, down to the stones. They uncovered it, they excavated it, right? Okay, so blah, blah, blah. My inspiration was like, dude, I got to go there. I got to go there. Took me 5 years to convince my wife. We decided to go. So, of course, I had this hope, right? This secret hope, particularly for people who do visionary ceremonial work. I was like, oh, I'm going to remember my past life. I'm going to remember the past life I had there. It's going to be so cool. And I can say authentically, I have had other places that I've gone where I remembered past lives for real. So I thought, oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to have that, right? So that was the central, and we only went there for 2 days. So we had another 14 days of doing many, many other things. But it's like, I'm going to the house of Virgin Mary. The first day we go, we went with a guide. Second day we went hoping that we could get there before the crowds. Not possible. It's a tourist attraction. There are bus loads, literally bus loads. The second day we got there, 8 o'clock in the morning when it opened, there were already like 8 buses filled with tourists. And the whole deal is you get in a corridor, you line up, you walk through these, like a corridor, and you walk into the house. There's a big sign at the front that says, don't take any pictures. You walk in, there's an altar. The whole house experience about 20 feet, and you're in front of an altar. Very beautiful, and then you leave. That's it. 2 days in a row. So, as my daughter said to me before we left, she said, Dad, if you go there and nothing happens, are you going to be disappointed? I was like, yeah. But the truth is I wasn't. I'll tell you why. First of all, we're in Turkey. I mean, we're here already. What am I going to do? Spend my time being bummed out? No. But here's what happened to me. And I want to lead it then into this invocation of light, because it, at least for me, is very important. 2 things happened. One, I experienced, and Jane did too, a peacefulness, right? When we pray, my guide comes and he says often, may you be blessed with the peace of Christ in your heart. This is his constant blessing. May you be blessed with the peace of Christ in your heart, right? That may that peace guide you, protect you, teach you, lead you home. For many years, he says this. I can say that I felt and still feel from being stimulated, just walking there. Jay and I we spent an hour meditating. We found a little corner on a wall and we sat and we prayed and meditated. I feel a peace in my heart that I have never felt in this life, certainly in this life. Number one. Okay. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Here's the other thing that happened. I said, you know, you go in there and there's big signs about this big that says, don't take any pictures inside. So we're walking in the second day and literally there's a guy in front of me videoing it and narrating his video. Hi, I'm in the house of the Virgin Mary and I'm taking a video and here I am, right? So we leave and he's still videoing, right? I mean, the guy was, you know, and I say to him, excuse me, didn't you, I said, no pictures, taking no pictures also means no videos. He says, what? I said, there's a huge sign there. He says, oh, I didn't see it. Excuse me. And I said, have some respect. Just have respect, my brother, right? So I said it like that. I wasn't mean, but I wasn't nice. I was righteous, right? So we go and sit down and I felt the dissonance, like, dude, I was just like that in the house of the Virgin Mary. Wow, whoa, what was that about? So in the meditation, Jane and I are meditating, here's what came to me, like this. What it's about is kindness. It's about looking for opportunities to spread kindness. It's not about the issue. The issue is an excuse to be kind and to have a kind interaction with somebody. For me, a very profound teaching, a very, very, very profound teaching, right? I'm going to say it again. It's not about the issue. It's about finding the excuse, the moment, the way to bring kindness to bear in this world. And so these issues that we have, right? Now, I would have, in retrospect, said something to him because his head was not where it should be. But I could have done it kindly, and I could have then helped him. So at best, what he felt is, wow, I fucked up again. At worst, he probably thought I was an asshole, right? So you see what I'm saying? So for me, it was a very, very, very profound teaching. Really worth it to go all that way, to get that so clearly in for my own benefit, huh? And I think for the benefit of others. You know, if it's true that kindness, as the Dalai Lama says, right? He says, my religion is kindness. If it's true that is a good thing, if it is true that is what she wanted to teach me, then it's a very profound teaching for me in my life. And then it's coupled with, I do feel this peace in my heart, which allows me to be calmer, allows me to contemplate a little before I open my mouth. Wait, patient, align myself, do what I know how to do, that we're going to do here together in a second. And then speak, act from that. Okay, so I want to loop back for a second. The first thing I said about feeling this peace in my heart. Here's what I've been contemplating. And actually, I contemplate today because I was talking to Shannon, who was the inspiration for the Essential Light Institute. And she reminded me of something. And I started thinking, what was my real prayer? Right? My superficial prayer was, oh, I want to remember my past life with the Virgin Mary. Right? So I could be cool. Not quite like that, but there was an aspect of it, of that. What was my prayer? Here's my prayer. My prayer that came in 1994, sitting on the floor of a church in Brazil. Another story. But my prayer was, I want to live through my heart. And then my prayer evolved, as our prayers do, into, and I want to open all the layers of my heart completely. And then it gets coupled with, and I want to be a vessel of light. Not just, to help other people, but for me. I want this. That's my prayer. Excuse me, my underlying prayer. I have all these other prayers, right? Yeah, I want to go to the house of the Virgin Mary, and I want this, and I want you, I want some of you to come and study with me, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. What I want for me, I want to live through my heart, and I want to be intimate, subsumed with light. There I was. So somehow I was called there, Jane and I were called there to have that experience rather than what would have be very interesting. Very interesting. I know some of you on this call, you've remembered past lives. It's interesting. But my teacher Bashinya said to us, she said, the point of remembering past lives is to live this life more fully. Not just to entertain yourself or to check out and say, well, you know, I was with the Virgin Mary. I don't have to be a good person in this life. So I remembered my prayer. See? Like, wow. Went all that way, 10 time zones, to a strange place, to be disoriented, right? Be in the middle of Turkey. And it was very beautiful, but it was, you know, I didn't understand one word of Turkish. Strange culture. To have another layer of my heart opened. So how could I be in any way disappointed? How could I be in any way a shred of disappointment? To feel what I feel sitting here with you all. And my healing work has changed since I've been back in a way that I was praying for. What's the conclusion? Conclusion is, as they say on the East Coast, you never know. And you got to just pay attention. Someone told me, I don't know if they're on this call. Someone told me today a story about their own life. Same prayer, they've been praying. They have a connection with light. They have lots of doubts, lots of things. And this particular person was actually sitting in church, standard church, when a beam of light, as they say, came out of heaven and illuminated this person. Grace, total grace, total grace. What was that person's contribution? That person's contribution was that for months and months, they have been preparing themselves to be available to that grace. Jane and I have been preparing ourselves for literally decades. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of spiritual works. Getting ready somehow, or through me, the Virgin Mary, in my interpretation, to say, here you are, my children, this is what's important. What's the point? You never know. Pay attention. It doesn't come linearly. This was the other thing that this person said to me today. Oh, I see. It doesn't usually come through words. It usually doesn't come through a standard way, right? Like somebody walks up and says, here's the teaching. It comes like that. Like, wow, why did I even go there? Well, what happened? Oh, wow, that person I met randomly, they said that thing to me. Boom. And then they left and I never saw them again. They gave me the message. Our life conspires. My life conspires. Your life conspires with your guides to bring you exactly the lesson that answers your prayer. So I want to ask you a question now. What was and is your prayer? Particularly if you're going through a transformational moment, which can show up as illness, can show up as life challenges, can show up as strangenesses, can show up as weird things, can show up in dreams. I had a dream 2 nights ago connected to that thing in the house of the Virgin Mary. What was your prayer? If you're going through something, a particular journey at this moment of transformation, transformation can look like difficulty. Think back to when it began. And then think 6 months before that. Remember, even a year before that, what was the prayer that you made? A dear friend of mine is going through a very, very, very difficult moment in his life. Very difficult. His life is falling apart. It is tragic. Difficult. Something he never anticipated. And I was talking to him the other day, and I said to him, what was your prayer? He said, oh yeah, my prayer was, I didn't want to live in chaos anymore. He said, wow, what they did was they turned up the chaos amplifier to max. I said, yeah, so you can learn how to find peace and truth in the middle of that. He was like, wow. For me, this is not a rationalization. It can be, but it's what I see over and over and over again, my dear ones. It's just the way it is. You see what I mean? I mean, it pisses me off sometimes. I'm sure it pisses you off too sometimes. Really? This is what I have to go through to get that prayer answered? What the heck? Okay. It is what it is. That's how it is. Right? And just like I could go to the Virgin Mary's house and say, oh my God, I didn't remember my past life. I was like, okay, this is what it is. What is it? What is the lesson? What are you learning? Look back and see if I'm right. If I'm wrong, it wouldn't be the first time. What was the prayer you made for the transformation of your life, for the evolution of your soul in this body? Now I'm going to tell you how I work with it. I'm going to give you a list. If you come train with me, we're going to go through this step by step, but I'm going to give you a list of how I work in me, how I have learned with all the work that I've learned how to do in this life. This is how I do it. Okay? Number one, I'm going to phrase it for you, right? This is what I do, but I'm going to phrase it for you. Know that you did pray, not for the specific thing, but acknowledge the prayer you made. See, a lot of the difficulty we go through, the stuckness is because we don't get the perspective that this is something that it is a process. This isn't a punishment. This isn't it's not a punishment. It's an opportunity. So know that you prayed for it. Then, and this is what we learn when we come together in other settings, you locate where it is. Where is it in your body? Where is it in your energy field? Where is it? Where is the impact of it? Where's the center of it? Which chakra, which layer? Where is it? Call that what it is, call the thought, what I call the binding thought, call it into awareness, present. What is the issue? What is it that I'm working on? What is it? What's the lesson? Underneath the thought, underneath the symptom, underneath the process, where is it? That it is, where is it? What is it? Bring it into awareness. Put it on the altar of faith. I'm going to do that in a minute. Call light to it. Don't follow it. Don't fight it. Don't figure it out. Don't forget about it. Don't fight it. Don't follow it. Don't figure it out. What's the other one?
Forget.
Don't forget it. I forgot it. Don't fight it. Don't follow it. Don't figure it out. Call light to it. Then watch. Pay attention. Watch how it evolves. Watch how it evolves in your aura, and watch how it evolves in your, oh yeah, don't fear it. Thank you, Emily. Don't fight it, don't follow it, don't fear it, don't figure it out. Thank you. Younger people remember that. Don't fix it. Dude, don't fight it, don't follow it, don't fix it, don't figure it out, don't fear it. The 5 don't F's. Thank you. That's why we help each other. But for real, call light to it. Turn it into, in your consciousness, a dynamic process of light transformation. Because the problem with almost every problem, almost every symptom comes from stuckness, comes from a lack of motion. Light calls things into motion, calls things into activity when they are stuck in a loop. So fight it, follow it, fix it, fear it, figure it out, enforces. It's like glue to the thing. Step back, put it on the altar of faith, call light to it, watch it, be grateful. So that's what I want to share with you tonight. Now we're going to do what we really came here to do, which is we're going to invoke light together. But apropos of what we're doing here, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do what we just said. So I'm going to lead you through a little bit of meditation, okay, with your permission. You don't have to do it, but it'd probably be good for you if you do. So I'm going to ask you to find your comfortable meditative position, whatever that is, sitting up, you can lie down, whatever you want. All right. And I'm going to ask you then to go inside yourself. First, pay attention to your grounding. Pay attention to your grounding, which means literally to feel the sensation of your feet wherever you are, or if you're sitting cross-legged, to feel your sit bones, your butt. Extend your awareness from your feet or from the bottom of your body, from your first chakra, downward. Wherever you are, whatever floor of whatever place you are, go into the earth. Put one hand on your lower belly and one hand under your collarbone. Breathe from that bottom straight up the center in front of your spine. Align yourself, straighten your spine and straighten your center. Feel it, see it, sense it. So you're grounded and you're activating your center pole. If any of what I say makes no sense to you and you have no sense of it at all, you know what your work is. Now, drop your upper hand and put it right on your heart center. Breathe into that place. Bring the energy up, and as you inhale, bring it forward through that place where your hand is and extend your heart chakra out in the front. Let your hand flip open and form a shelf right in front of your chest. Bring the other hand up, make a shelf, your two hands. Where your fingers are is the place of compassion. Center yourself in that space of compassion. Remember that space. Now bring your hands up, put your hands behind your head with your palms facing up, your thumbs touching your occiput, base of your skull. Your palms are facing upward. Breathe in and raise your hands, scraping the back of your head. You have a tube coming straight up that your hands are in the middle of. A tube for the reception of light. And you're going to raise your hands slowly, slowly, slowly until you get to the top of how far they can go. And you're opening that tube to receive light. Get to the top. Flip your fingers open and open the aperture at the top so light can get to you. I'm giving you a daily practice right now, if you want it. Now, come back down, breathe. Feel your groundedness, feel your center, feel your heart, feel your tube. Now come back to that heart compassion place, the shelf in front of your chest. Your fingers straight out. Place of compassion. Put the heel of your hand where your fingers are. In other words, you just went out 50%. Extend your hand straight out that much again. Where your fingers are now is the place of faith. Faith. Where your fingers are now is an altar. An altar. You are going to invoke that which needs light in you, in your life, in your health. And you're going to put it right there on the altar of faith. Whatever it is, if it's a dilemma, if it's a transformation, if it's a relationship, if whatever it is that is in process that needs the acceleration and the illumination of light, put it there. Now come into whatever meditation place, this position is comfortable for you. And join me in calling light to all of us, to each of us, to that place of faith and to everything else that we may not even be aware of that needs light. I'm going to say the prayer I say. I ask you in your way, in your place, to join me. You don't need to have the words I have, but help me and help each other. Celebrate that I'm receiving light. Celebrate that you're receiving light, and celebrate that everybody on this call is joining hearts now. All of our hearts joining together automatically, naturally, creating a circle. And in the middle is our collective altar of faith with everything that we have put on it. Like that. Let your heart join with mine, join with his, join with hers, join with theirs. We ask here for the intervention of light. We ask for the presence of the guides of this work and the guides of each one of us in collaboration. We ask that our prayers for the illumination, the transformation, the activation of all that perturbs us and all that is evolving in us be accomplished here now, here now, here now. We ask that each one of us and all of us together join in this prayer for light, that we are illuminated collectively and individually. And we ask that all beings receive the reflection of this light and in some way are helped on the sacred path of unity, harmony, transformation, illumination, and liberation. Amen. Center your breath in your heart. Center your awareness in your heart and that place of faith. And observe, receive. Light comes visually, light comes as a feeling, it comes as a knowing. Let the peace surround you, hold you, join you with everybody else so you can receive more light. Now, for some of us here, there are energies that are going to be lifted off by the activation of light and by the guides above you receiving that which you no longer need. Energies, thoughts, patterns, emotions, illnesses. Breathe, call on, rely on this circle to allow that to leave, to allow it to be lifted off. Breathe, especially if something feels that it's getting activated in you. Breathe into that place in your body. Expand it. Allow light to penetrate into it. Be aware now of the opportunity to deepen your breath, deepen your awareness, the shift in the energy. There. Let it go. If something is activated and is being called into this light, bless it. And then breathe into the vacated space. Allow light to fill the gap. Light comes as visually, comes as a sensation, comes as an intuition, comes as a knowing, comes as a feeling. Return your awareness to the altar of faith. That which you put on it. See, feel, sense, intuit what's happening with that. Feel the light descending through your tube. Feel it, see it, sense it. See it, feel it, call it, to fill your whole aura like your vehicle was a jar being poured light into through the neck of the jar behind your head. Filling you up, every layer. Gathering the denseness and bringing it back to go up the tube into the arms of your guides. Light of Christ upon you. Light of Christ within you. Light of Christ surrounding you, healing you, raising your awareness to the truth of who you are. Light of Christ to guide you home to your heart in this moment, and to your true home when the time comes. Light of Christ as your friend, your teacher, your companion, your helper in all moments. And may you be blessed with this peace that you have collectively called Now, as you can, feel your gratitude. Mental body of your throat chakra in the front. Open that space of gratitude so you can receive even more. Light of Christ to illuminate your mind. Calm your thoughts. Focus your awareness on what is important, what is eternal, what is true. Light of Christ to give you knowledge of truth in your heart. And may you be blessed with the peace of Christ, of that universal light. As our final step in this process, let's say a collective prayer for all those on earth in need of this light. Which is, of course, all those on earth. Most especially those suffering from the confusion and the ignorance and the lack of kindness. Of themselves and of others. We ask for mercy. Mercy for those who suffer. Mercy for those getting their lessons in the hardest ways. We ask that those given the responsibility for guiding, for leading, may be guided to their own hearts. We ask that the collective prayers of humanity be answered by the infusion of light. And may we be transmitters, securers embodiers of that light. We ask that the ripples of light from this circle extend to our families, to our loved ones, to those we know who are in need and in their own process of transformation and healing. We ask that our words be guided by our hearts as illuminated by this light. We ask to be given work that serves us and serves others. We ask for true prosperity, prosperity of spirit. We ask that all beings receive what they need. We ask this in the name and in the presence of this light. Amen. So I call you to the awareness of your heart, the awareness of your grounding. Grounded on earth, centered in your heart, receiving light. Aligned with your center, at peace. Extend your gratitude to all the ones on this, in this circle that we've created tonight. Everyone prayed for you, and you prayed for everyone. May you be blessed with the peace of Christ in your heart as you go forward. Wherever you are called, however you are called, and however you choose to answer, may this peace be the atmosphere of all that you do from now on. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have my gratitude. You have my love, as I know I have yours. If you do choose to explore, to come with us, we also have a program going on connected to the healing of anxiety and depression, of which there is a lot. But you learned tonight how I'm going to teach you anyway. And if you want to check out the healer's training, it's going to be a very, very, very beautiful thing. I can I am assured by those who know what's going on that that's going to be the case. And we will see you, if you wish, next month. I'm going to keep doing this. It's very beautiful. I hope everybody received what you need, and that will continue. Amen. Namaste. Aum. See you later down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Good, everyone.
Blessings to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.